Hi everybody, again this is Miss Jessie from the Central Library of the Buffalo and Erie County Library, and I'm back again with another STEAM Saturday challenge. So today we're going to start a little different. What I would like you to do is see if you can find out what your resting heart rate is. So what that means is we need to figure out how many beats our heart beats per minute while we're resting. So the easiest way for me to find that is to actually feel right here. I can feel it right now. For some of you, you might be able to feel it better in your wrist. Some of you might need to just take your hand and put it over your heart and see if you can feel it beating there. And so you count. I set a timer on my phone or stopwatch, and I could actually see how the time was moving. And for 10 seconds, I counted how many beats I could feel. So for me, I felt 15 beats in 10 seconds. So you multiply whatever number that is, however many times your heart beats in 10 seconds, by 6 to figure out how many times your heart beats per minute. So for me, that's 90 when I'm resting and sitting still. Now, if I were to get up and jump around, my heart rate would go up because my body would need more energy and more oxygen, so it would need more blood to pump through my body. If I were to lay down and start taking some deep breaths and maybe do some yoga, my heart rate might even go down lower than that. So see if you can measure your heart rate while you're sitting still, and also again right after running around and jumping, and see what happens. So today we are going to make a working model of a heart to actually see how your body exchanges blood so you can get oxygen throughout your entire body. So to make this experiment, you are going to need 3 bottles. So I have 3 plastic bottles right here. These are just those cheap water bottles, so they're going to make a little bit of noise, but if you have thicker ones that either held water or soda or a fruit juice, those are going to work. I have all the caps here, but you're only going to need 2 of the caps, and I'll show you how to make those work in a second. I have some tape. I have some water in a pitcher here that is colored red. So we're going to actually use this to look like blood pumping through our heart model. And you're going to need 4 bendy straws. So the straws that have the bend in them. Okay, so let's get started. So the first thing I did, and you're going to want to get an adult's help here because I'm going to have to use sharp scissors again to do this. You could also use a screwdriver or something else that was sharp, maybe a kitchen knife. And in 2 of the bottle lids, you need to make some holes. So in this bottle lid, there are 2 holes. Let me see if I can put my hand up behind it so you can see it better. There are 2 holes that are exactly the same size, and they happen to be big enough for a straw to slip in, but no bigger than that. How I made those holes was I took my scissors and I punched it into the plastic, and I just kind of went around and around and going deeper and deeper until I got it just big enough for my straw to push through. In the second cap, what we're going to need is 1 hole that's the same size as the hole in the other cap, so just big enough for a straw to go through, and then 1 tiny little hole, just so we can get some air exchange. The third bottle isn't going to have a cap on it at all. So what we need to do is we need to take our straws and bend, pull apart and bend at the joint there, and we're going to pinch the end of 1 straw and put it into the other straw, so just the tops of them, so they look like that at a 90-degree angle. I'm then going to put some tape at this seam, and I'm going to do that for all 4 straws, so I'll be back in 1 second. Okay, so now I have slid part of the straw into the other straw and put tape around there to make it a good tight seal. I've done that on 2 sets of straws, so there's 4 straws taped together into 2 sets. And then I've placed them through those caps that I made holes in. So this is the cap that had the 2 holes for 2 straws, right? So there's a straw going in and a straw going out. And then this straw that's going out of this middle hole is also going into the bigger hole on the cap that had 2 holes. That was one that was a big one and one that was a small one, okay? So this is the start of our pump system. I have also filled 2 of my water bottles, about 80% full, so just about up to there, with some of this red colored water, so it looks like blood. And I'm going to leave the 3rd bottle empty. So 1 of these filled bottles goes in the middle, and I'm going to screw this system onto the top of it. Okay, so there's like this, and then the lid that had 1 big hole and 1 small hole goes into the bottle that has the liquid, And then this one that has no lid will go at the very end of this system. So let me just screw this on real quick and I'll show you now what this looks like. So I have my 3 bottles like this, and I'll be right back to show you how this works. Okay, so now I'm using an overhead view and I hope you can see this. So these 3 bottles represent the circulation system in the body. This first bottle is going to be the atrium. The middle bottle is going to be the ventricle, and the third bottle is going to be the body or the lungs. This is what needs blood and oxygen because it's empty right now. These straws are going to represent the vessels that will help move the blood between those different parts of the circulatory system. And we are going to use our fingers as pinchers to be the valves that actually tell the blood when it's pumping which way to go. So right now we need to move blood from the ventricle into the body. So I'm going to pinch off the vessel between the ventricle and the atrium, and I'm going to squeeze the ventricle to move blood into the body. So you can see the blood filling into that empty vessel. If I now want blood to move back into the atrium, I'm going to keep this squeezed. I'm going to move my valve between the ventricle and the body, and I'm now going to squeeze, and now blood will move into the first bottle, or the atrium. Again, I'm going to keep squeezing back and forth until I keep moving water in between these vessels. If you want to keep trying this, you can keep adding water into your center bottle by pouring the water from your body back into your ventricle. So we could make this approximate what our heart rate is by, if you remember how many times your heart beat during that 10 seconds that you counted, see if you can move and squeeze this bottle that many times for 10 seconds. So I would have to squeeze this bottle 15 times in 10 seconds to get the blood to move properly throughout my system. If you're running and jumping, that's even more. So your heart has to work even faster. So see how many times you can get the blood to move back and forth between these 3 bottles in 10 seconds. If you want to start over again, just pour this water from the body back into the center bottle. Get these 2 bottles back to about 80% full and you can start again. Happy Saturday.